Yeah, that's we'll have to do an episode about that one day, many years from now when we're much more famous.
It's really fascinating stuff.
Yeah. All right. Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Goth Yearbook After Hours. It is I, your host as always, Eric, aka the Eric Wynn, and with us as always is the hostess with the mostest, Caitlin, aka the Caitlin D. Caitlin, how's that podcast book?
Oh, putting me
Just
really on
kidding.
the
Well,
spot.
yeah, we gotta keep that one under wraps. We'll bring that up later, I'm sure.
Yeah, we have a very secret podcasting book. No, Eric and I just have decided to finally try to take this seriously and yeah, engage with more fans and followers. And on that note, welcome to Goth Yearbook. And it is the first day of Hanukkah as we are recording this. So happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like Saint Lucia Day,
Mm-hmm.
which is a Swedish thing. And ultimately, it will at some point be Christmas. And I was wondering, because I actually don't know this about you, because as much as it feels like we've been friends forever, uh, I don't. We've only been friends since March, so I don't know what you celebrate.
Oh, um, I celebrate a very capitalist conception of Christmas, and that's it.
Okay,
My family that it's absolutely
so you get a
nothing tied
tree.
to any religious. Yeah, I actually I love Halloween, and like I love people who get down and dirty with their Halloween. I really enjoy actually decorating for the holidays, and usually my house would be a little bit more decorated by now, but because this has been kind of like a weird year, like I've been slow to pull those boxes out, but I'm a big fan. When I first bought this home in 2015 and I was like living here by myself, like it was so important for me to like go to the tree lot and like get a tree and like put up all the lights. Like I was like, I don't want that to die, like because it kind of did die in my 20s, like with apartments and stuff like that.
Right.
Not that you can't celebrate that way, but like at least for myself, like I never got as into it as much, and so I was like very like I made like a promise to myself like no, you gotta get that whimsy going, and I'm glad I do because
Nice.
I like it. It does no matter what. As the older I get, I do feel in years that aren't quite like this year. I do feel like it's magical this time of year. I like when it gets really cold out. I like when the weather gets a little gloomy. I
Hmm.
really embrace all of it. What about yourself?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm like a non-Christian Christmas supporter, I guess. I think Jesus seems pretty cool from what I know about him. I don't know about the Christian religion, of course, and but I do like the tree. I do like decorating stuff. That was always like yeah, I liked the idea of like getting together with people and like being inside. Of course, I live in LA and I keep waking up and it's like 70 degrees and I'm like, no, like, come
Yeah,
on. Um, so it would be nice if we had like some sort of weather, but also I chose to live here and I know lots of people in other parts of the country are probably like, shut up.
right.
Um,
It
but yeah,
I do feel a little cheated in that regard as well. I mean, because we're also we are also California up here, and this weekend we're supposed to get some rain, and besides maybe like one other day this year, it'll be like the first one of the entire season realistically, and it's not even
uh-huh.
that much. I think it's just like an inch and a half, and they're projecting sadly once again it's going to be a pretty dry rainy season, at least up here in Northern California this year. So that's a big bummer for me. Rain, I love rain, and I hate
Hmm.
feeling like I don't get my rain this year.
Right. Well, we've made our choices, but I do
Yeah.
like the tree, the tree aspect. It is like I think for a few years I did avoid it because I was very like bah humbug about Christmas because it was just like kind of a hard time for my family and like that's when some sad things and events happened in my family, like with my mom and all kinds of stuff. But I'm at the point now where I'm like, even in quarantine and even like living I'm like single, but I'm like, I can get a tree. I can wrap presents for like myself and
Mm,
Prince Charming. I can wrap some catnip treats and stuff. And I mean, that
absolutely.
might sound really sad to other people, but
No, I'm here for it. Like I told you, I mean, in 2015, when I was like just single and living alone, all stuff, like I was like all about it. I was like, I am, and treat yourself. You know what I mean? Like, Go all out for yourself. Make your own life fucking magical.
Yeah, I'll stream my unboxing of my Christmas presents like on my OnlyFans or something.
Only presents. Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Uh
I know
so
we talked about it on the holiday movies thing, but real quickly
uh-huh.
I do want to know, like, did you guys have any holiday like traditions in general? Like, was there, besides like maybe the standard gift giving, was there any other kind of like thing you would do back when you were a kid? Or
Yeah, I mean, you know, like my mom's side of the family was Swedish, so we did make some traditional Swedish stuff like Swedish meatballs, and there are like chocolate macaroons that are not the same kind of macaroons as like French macarons, and these cookies that now I can't remember the name of, but they're like fried dough, and then you sprinkle powdered sugar on them that are snowflake shaped. Uh,
that sounds
and
fucking decadent. I'm into that.
yeah, yeah, there's some good treats going on in the
Yeah.
family. And I know my sisters are making them this year, and my sister's kid expressed wanting to like possibly like do FaceTime making of treats and stuff, so that could be fun. I
Right.
do think what's nice about like the quarantine is like everyone FaceTime so much more now, and like it's I know people have always sort of done that over the holidays, but it's like planning events around like digitally hanging out. Like today, I was FaceTiming with one of my sisters across the country while like social distance hanging out with my other sister and her baby. And it like, for like 15 minutes, it kind of felt like the holidays when we would all get together and see each other, you know?
Yeah.
And before FaceTime, like, I don't remember ever feeling that way just with like a phone call, you know?
Yeah.
I've never even met you, technically, off
And you
the
never
internet.
will.
Wouldn't that be crazy if we just like never met? If we made that like part of the like canon of the
Agreement.
show?
Yeah, we do like a live show tour, and there's like a divider in the
Yeah,
stage.
yeah, like a dating
Yeah.
show, whatever. Whatever was that? The
Love is
original.
Blind. That
No,
one?
no, the original one, like
Oh, the match game or love game or whatever.
yeah, the one the serial killer was on.
I think it was called the love game,
The
I think, right?
Match Game.
Match
I don't
game
know,
was
whatever
no.
it was.
Match game was the actual game show. I think the dating show.
I don't know.
I feel like such an
Email
idiot.
us at
Yeah.
yeah, if you know, type in the YouTube chat box. But yeah, the other thing also that I've implemented in my adulthood is, especially when I stopped like traveling for the holidays and spending money on that, and like my family kind of in adulthood all started being like, let's not get each other gifts because everyone always hates what everyone else, and it's just like pointless. Like we all hate the mall, so like let's just not do that.
Yeah.
And so I started buying myself like a Christmas gift, you know. And today I do all my impulse shopping first thing in the morning when all my defenses are down and I don't have any impulse control.
Mm.
And I actually have had a Fender acoustic guitar in the cart for quite some time
Whoa.
with my little VIP discount, and I checked out today and I'm pretty excited about that
Hell yeah, good for you.
because
That's
I
fucking sweet.
might have damaged my other acoustic guitar in a fit of rage.
Oh. Is that a Patreon conversation?
No, I was just like really, I was drunk and frustrated, and I just gave it a little, heave ho in the heat of the moment.
Was this recent?
Not that recent,
Oh, okay.
but not that long ago.
Like during the era of After Hours?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I'll have we won't get too into it because I have a lot of questions, but we'll have to revisit that one for sure.
It's fine. It's fine. As long as the Fender rep doesn't listen to this podcast, we're fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was gonna say, my other thing is like when I give back to myself, I also try to like, as we've talked about, and as is the lead-in for introducing our guests for the show,
There it is.
I try to think of different ways that I can give back to my immediate community or causes that are important to me, because, you know, in this like frenzy of consumerism and like all the money people are spending buying gifts for people that like half the time the people will just discard or give to someone else or whatever. It's a great general idea, but there are so many people in need. It's nice to like take into account, like, I think the original sort of impetus of like making Christmas such a big thing was out of like, you know, Wasn't that like sort of a Jesus thing too, like giving to people in need?
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, you know what? He did do that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. He gave a lot of like bread and fish
Yeah, it was
and wine.
Jesus's whole
Yeah.
shtick, wasn't
I
it?
thought you were gonna say like, didn't he like go around chimneys and didn't he eat everyone's cookies and milk? Like, what did Jesus do? No, I think
Yeah.
so. I think he was into giving back and shit.
Well, he did, I guess, according to the lore, sacrifice his whole life, I guess, so that we could.
The ultimate
did all-
GoFundMe account right there.
Yeah, kind of dramatic in my opinion, but more power to him.
Yeah. Hey,
He comes back in March or April or whatever it is.
he looked really ripped on that thing, at least from a lot of the artists' depictions of him. How funny would it be if an artist just decided to make like a kind of pudgy, like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like it's so they always like insist on making him like Men's Health magazine like style ripped, and it's like,
oh, Jesus is always super white and super hot.
Why can't he just like be a normal dude up there, like just some guy looks like Larry or something that's up on that cross? Anywho, great.
It's not marketable,
True.
And this conversation has ignited a new desire in me. And if you are an artist listening to this show, I will commission you for this piece of art. I would love to see a Santa nailed to a cross.
Oh, I'd like that too.
Just all like gut hanging out and bleeding and cookie crumbles. Just like, yeah.
Surely this man truly was the son of December.
Sure.
I'm referencing an old movie. Anywho,
I don't know what the fuck.
all that ramp up. So what are we doing this month, Caitlin? With our guests for this month.
Is this a quiz?
No, I'm asking you because why do we have our guests on this evening?
Didn't I just sort of explain that? We're trying to be Jesus-like. Why don't you I feel like the kid in the class where you're like, the answer you want to hear, and it's making me sweat because I feel like I already talked about it.
You're all good. Well, this is perfect time to introduce our guest. This month, we want to bring on people who are getting involved with organizations. This week, we have someone who's involved in an organization that's kind of true and dear to them here in Sonoma County. And next week, we have someone coming on that will be talking about an organization that's near and dear to them down in Los Angeles County, which is where Kayla and I both reside. And so without further ado, let's bring our guest on this evening who is going to talk about the work that they do with an organization that's called Food for Thought. And that person is Alyssa Rose, who... Caitlin, I might have accidentally just muted you, by the way.
I just unmuted myself.
Hell yeah. Hi there.
You muted me. It's okay.
I was like, I think I muted someone.
Welcome to the show, Alyssa Rose. Now shut up.
Yeah.
Hello. I don't know shit about Jesus, but I do know that show was called The Love Connection.
The Love Connection. Jesus Christ. I don't know why I could not pull that for the life of me.
I watched a lot of Game Show Network when it came out in 2002. A lot of that.
We got that when it first came out, and it was revolutionary to me. I was so excited to have that.
Mm-hmm. And Match Game.
The episode. Yeah. Oh, it was Match Game. That's the one that the serial killer was on. Did you see that one?
No, but I had a weird thing for Richard Dawson, the creep that would kiss everybody, and now I'm like, I don't know what that was about, but
he was like weird. Like he held like on the Feud at least, because he did a couple shows, but on on his era of the Family Feud, he would like hold their hands and like caress them, like pet. Yeah, like it was. It was very uncomfortable. Like to this day, I watch it and like I cringe, especially because he's like wearing like, and the whole set back then looks like a country buffet house, like everything
really big, like a really big soundstage for people who are really close together on set.
Perfect set for COVID these days. What serial killer are you talking about, Caitlin?
Oh shoot! Someone's got to be shouting at the screen or when they're listening, because I don't remember. I'll look it up.
All right,
but don't wait for me.
Someone said Rodney Alcala on the dating game.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take it.
All right, we got it there. So, Alyssa,
Hi.
Perfect lead in to talk about food for thought.
I mean, we can talk about whatever. That's fine.
I do. We got a lot of questions in actually, so there's gonna be plenty of whatever type stuff to go down.
Cool.
So I do want to make sure we have some time real quickly to kind of talk about. Well, if you could kind of tell the listeners out there, what is food for thought?
Totally. So Food for Thought is a food bank, and they specifically have worked with HIV and AIDS, folks living with HIV and AIDS and complications from those diseases since the 1980s in Northern California here. Specifically in Guerneville, a lot of people moved from San Francisco to, well, we serve everybody, but a lot of people in the 80s and 90s moved to Guerneville who were living with HIV. And so it really started from mutual aid, which I think is something we all need to be talking about and thinking about, especially right now during the holidays. Like you were talking about giving, there's so many ways to give, not just to charities, but directly to other humans. So Food for Thought started because somebody was literally just seeing a need for people who were really ill and in their homes and not able to leave, they're immunocompromised, and started feeding them. And then it quickly became more of an effort by the community there, and then they became a nonprofit, and they've been helping people since the 80s. So they're really amazing. I was in fourth grade the first time that I started volunteering for them.
Wow.
So it's been a second. It's definitely been a second that I've been working with them.
How did you get connected with them in the fourth grade? Did they like come to your school or?
No. So my uncle passed away from HIV, well, AIDS complications, when I was in second grade.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was really weird to me because to me, in my life, in my household, this was an epidemic that was happening, but no children around me were talking about this. Nobody at my elementary school was talking about this. And this was like a big deal. This was before the fucking Real World came out and we had Pedro and like whatever, and the younger people started paying attention, but literally no kids or anything were talking about this. So, and it was really close to me. So I organized a food drive myself at my school.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And that's how I started doing it. And then, of course, like teens and 20s, teens really, you don't give a shit about anybody. So I wasn't doing anything for them for all that time. But when I got to my mid-20s, I started helping them out again, and I usually do food drives, but obviously where I'm literally standing in front of a grocery store asking people for food, which is can be stressful because
no kidding.
I know I walk straight past anybody who's holding a fucking flyer in front of a grocery store, but it's a lot of the people that volunteer there are maybe older, or a lot of outwardly queer people that unfortunately even less people are going to talk to. So I do try to use, that privilege I have of being a, white woman with her kid, to ask people for money and food for them.
Yeah.
So but right now, obviously, food drives are not happening. So what we would love is for people to go to fftfoodbank.org. And there's a few different ways you can donate money right now. You can donate to their holiday food drive, which it's a link. It's easy to find. But that money will go specifically to holiday meals that they give to people. And then there's just their regular fundraiser for the winter that they're doing. There's $75,000 into their $100,000 goal. So we would love to try to get them a little further on that if there's anybody out there who wants to donate to them. And then lastly, if you're in Northern California, there's a lot of times that we have that you might have an excess of food. You might have an excess of some kind of frozen item or whatever. Your friend's uncle's freezer broke and they have all this shit, whatever. But you can actually go, you can call them first and drop that off in Forestville in Northern California here if you have like excess foods and stuff. So yeah,
awesome.
There's my spiel.
Very cool. There are two things that I definitely want to like sort of retouch on or highlight for the listeners or for anyone who, because I know there's like sort of a lot of our listeners are mentally ill or or like we all have like our mental health challenges. I think people who listen to this show, especially, like, not because like, whatever, but it can be easy in the holidays, I know, to sort of like wallow. And it's something I fall into myself, whether it's because you hate your family or because you're all alone or because you feel like whatever. And I think it's easy to sort of feel overwhelmed with how many like opportunities there are to give back and get sort of frozen in it. But, I invite anyone to just like challenge themselves to give as much as they can and like challenge yourself, see how much you can give. And like what it does for your mental health is so significant because it really like connects you with the world. And so much of mental health disorders is that sense of alienation, and that's like really the root of so many problems. And just making that small connection. And then the other thing was just like using your privilege is so important. And if you have a smartphone or you have access to YouTube, like, you have privilege. So I love that you're taking that, and like you can use your time, you can use the way you look, if you are not at a disadvantage, and use that for the advantage of other people. So I think that's really cool and really powerful.
I think it sounds like she even uses her kid.
Yeah,
I totally use my kid. I strapped him to my chest as soon as I had a baby. I was like, give me money, give me food. He's a very cute kid too.
He is.
That helps. We're a good looking group when we're out there, so it's fine. People give us lots of money.
Why else have a kid, right?
Really, there's only a couple reasons. So
I mean,
soliciting other people for money is one of them. So.
Yeah, and kids are just like, all they do is take, so it's good for them to give back. I think it's so cool that like you were in 4th grade and you were like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna organize a food drive. That's really badass.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. In 4th grade, I like joined I was like the vice president of I don't even know what it's called now. I never would have done those things later on, but like when I was in elementary school, I was like, I'm going to be so fucking involved. Became a teenager, didn't give a shit after that. So
Right. Totally.
until, I did obviously eventually start giving a shit again.
Yeah, well, we're not all Greta. What's her name?
No, not Gerwig.
Not Gerwig.
We're not all Greta Gerwig.
We're not all Greta Gerwig either. Let's be honest.
Sitting in a movie theater, hating on what's her name's movie?
Talking shit.
Yeah. That was so fun when that came out. Amy Schumer, that's who it was. She was talking shit about Amy Schumer. You know what?
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine too. I say fuck the person who was tweeting about it and calling her out.
I don't know. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, sorry.
No. I just
year or two ago, Greta Gerwig went to go see an Amy Schumer movie in the middle of the day, mind you. Like some real internet sleuths like figured out that it was like a 1 p.m. like matinee type showing. I don't know which movie, to be honest. And someone in the theater was like basically live tweeting like Greta Gerwig's like sighing a lot. She's like laughing at her with her friend, like clearly at the movie rather than like with the movie. She's like, I heard her say something like this movie fucking sucks, like all like saying all this shit and just like putting her on blast. It's like, fuck you. Like she went like purposely went like in the middle of the day, like incognito, I'm sure, like, she doesn't want. I'm sure Greta Gerwig does not want Amy Schumer to feel like shit about it, But you're allowed to go and hate on someone else's fucking film.
Yeah, and the movie was that movie I Feel Pretty, which I don't think was, well received by most people. So, and Greta Gerwig's like an amazing film director. So, like, I trust her opinion. I never watched the movie, so.
I did. She was in the right.
Okay.
That brings me back to another unrelated story, which is around Christmas time last year, I think, is when I saw Cats in theaters, and an actual fight erupted in the theater, of which there were only like 5 people, and these like 2 parties were fighting, and it ended with like, because one guy was making fun of it and the other guy was there with his mom, who was like he was getting all defensive about it and being like, some people want to really enjoy this and like you're ruining it for everyone, but it was really the guy who was being defensive who was ruining it for everyone because he was standing up and yelling during the movie. And then like they were all in each other's face, and then the what do you call them, usher guy like
Oh, yeah.
broke up the fight, and the guy who was kicked out was wearing a Black Flag shirt, and the other guy shouted at him, "This is why punk is dead."
Oh my! In Cats
In
of all
Cats,
places,
yeah.
in Cats. Wow.
And I think that was the quintessential Cats experience.
I like to think
that's
of
the
like
best story I've heard.
Yeah, but I was referring to Greta Thunberg.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I was no
I knew who
no
you
Greta
meant.
Thunberg either. So
Yeah, I've only cared about like my own problem. I think you, as a teenager, you just gotta rage, you know. But for the most part, I think most of our listeners are adults, or at least I certainly hope so.
yeah, no shit.
And yeah, so Eric, did you have follow-up questions for that?
Well, first of all, real quick, because it's just on my mind about Greta. I do because like
Yeah.
now she has like a Hulu documentary that's coming out about her, and first of all, she's a badass. Like,
She is,
fucking,
totally,
if the whole world was
100%.
filled with her, like, incredible. That being said, like, I feel so bad for her because I know she's probably gonna have like, what person when they hit their teenage years doesn't have like a little bit of defiance or rebellious or this or that, and I feel like she, and this is not like on her, like everyone should grant people in life fucking, room to be human, and I feel that she is unfortunately probably going to be really analyzed, and people are going to be like, this is your
Sure he
savior,
is.
she's smoking a cigarette or doing this or doing that. It's like, leave her,
She already has like Donald Trump tweeting at her.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
like,
I know.
like telling her to go to a movie and chill, you know, like
Mhm.
with her friends and bullying her basically. But honestly, I think Greta is like she's like someone who was born at 100 years old.
Yeah,
You
she's
know, like
very
I
advanced.
think wasn't the first thing she did, like the first thing she came out with was like sailing around the world by herself or something.
Oh,
Was
that
that
I
her?
did not know.
No, but she does
The Hindenburg
sail
baby?
because she refuses to fly. That's like
Yes.
her bag. Is that so?
Shit,
Yeah,
she's good.
like I think I don't see like her crumbling under the pressure at anything. I think she's like one of those people who is like a Jesus, where she just sort of like comes and is this huge like role model for people, and like we can't all really hold ourselves to her measure, but she can like inspire. And especially I think what's great about her is that she just doesn't buy into the complacency that I think everyone else is really like sucked into in our world, that I'm so guilty of, everyone I know is guilty of, where it's like, yeah, you know, this sucks, but like, what are you gonna do? And she's like, we're gonna fucking stop it right now. So I did that.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
There'll be a constellation made about her many years from now. I'm sure she'll be considered one of like the warrior heroes of our generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
I was going to ask you, Alyssa, actually, do you know, out of curiosity, so every year, that was the one other thing I kind of want to touch upon is, and this kind of happened technically last Thursday, but every year there's what is it called? I keep messing it up.
It's called Dining Out for Life.
Yes.
And it takes place across the country, actually, but people do them, different places do them on different days. And ours was but it's always around World AIDS Day, which is December 1st. So ours was December 3rd,
yeah.
Dining Out for Life. So yeah, so I do the, when I can, do the food drives, which we're not doing right now. They're doing drive-through food drives, by the way, though. So sign up for their newsletter and you can find out where they are. Sometimes they're at the mall, at the Santa Rosa Mall. So you would host, so the thing that I would do every year is host a restaurant. So one of our fancy wine country restaurants would host Food for Thought for that evening and give like 20 to 50 to 75% of your bill to Food for Thought. So this year they couldn't do that. So that is rough because it's really like their main fundraiser of the year. So they usually make that $100,000 easy in that night, but obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So this time they still wanted to support the restaurant. So they still said like, here's a list of all the people because they've supported Food for Thought for 10 years, you know, but none of the money was going to Food for Thought. So people have to go directly to the website. But next year, maybe, I don't know.
Right.
I'm sure it'll come back in years to come though.
I think that's such a great concept. I really enjoy it, and hopefully next year we'll get to be slightly more different, or an old school style of it.
We'll be used to it, I suppose, at that point. So.
Yeah. Alyssa, we did get a bunch of questions in. If you wanted to dig into some of these,
Okay.
some of them do feel pointed. I'll say this.
Nice.
So, for the listeners at home, one thing that I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're pretty much an unabashed Beyonce fan. In fact,
Yeah.
I think like the one time that I don't know. I think if we've only really ever met in life like one or two times because we just have like mutual social groups, and it was at a party, and I remember that you were talking for quite a while about like a couple Beyonce concerts you'd been to or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
That tracks. That fully tracks.
Because one of the very first questions I got, and these are all anonymous, but and by that I mean I wrote them down on a piece of paper, so I don't remember who sent them. But someone wanted to know, what is your favorite Beyonce song?
Song? Okay. Well,
you have 3 Beyonce questions, so.
Oh God. All right. Well, first I'd like to address that I'm a floating head right now in hands because
Yes.
I've been kidnapped and I'm in a bunker. So I just wanted to address that.
It does have like, because like you're wearing black too and your hair is dark.
Yeah, well,
Do you guys remember like that thing in the 90s that happened for all the like the white gloved hands thing?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's what I was like, I have to say, because I'm a very handsy kind of person. So I'm like, once the hands go up, then it's clear I've been kidnapped. So I listen to Beyonce like and albums. Like I want to listen to Lemonade front to back.
Yeah.
My obsession over quarantine has definitely been the Homecoming album front to back. That is the best live album that's ever existed for any band anywhere. So
that's the Coachella one. The Coachella performance.
That was Coachella in 2018, and I mean, watch it live on Netflix. It's amazing. But like as a live album, it's fucking fantastic. And so I usually start it at Countdown. I've been listening to the song Countdown.
I love that song.
A lot lately. So I'll say that. But full albums are my preferred form of Beyonce.
Countdown is actually the first song I've always a fan of her, especially Crazy in Love. I remember when that came out, I was just like, oh, that's like a pristine fucking pop song. But Countdown was like the first song of hers. I think the album, is that 4? I remember that whole album and that song in particular was the first time like my like eyebrows were like, oh shit, like she's really like got, and I had to like go back and kind of like revisit other stuff because I felt like I was like, oh shit, like I didn't realize that she was like writing at that
the
kind of
most talented person that's ever existed. Yeah, she is.
My personal favorite is like by no means like one of her like gravitas songs, but I and my friends can attest to it, especially back in my younger druggier drinkier years, but Love on Top, I would like put it on at parties, so and I would start like howling it like out loud. I would like the key, because the whole song, like the second half of the song is just like an endless like key jump up, and I would just like fucking try to hit each note until my throat gave out.
I love that, by the way. So my Beyonce story is that I was really obsessed with her first album when it came out. Mm-hmm. So from that album, I'd probably say Baby Boy is my favorite song. So that is the other one that I listen to a lot. But so when that album came out, I like had just turned 21 and was like out dancing. And so, and also like had just had a horrible breakup. So the fact that Beyonce was telling me, myself, and I is all I need, that's all I needed. So I listened to that album all the fucking time because I was commuting, and then I didn't really listen to the middle albums very much. And then once Lemonade came out, I just went full obsession again. So.
Nice. Kaylin, do you have any thoughts?
I love Halo. I love that song. That song makes me want to drive around and sing for sure, just recklessly. And
hell yeah.
I still think that like it's a Destiny's Child song, but that like I'm a woman who independent. What is independent? Yeah. Oh my God. First of all, I loved Charlie's Angels, which I know is not the topic on hand, but nice. I absolutely love that movie. And that like was so pivotal to the soundtrack. So I love those two. I was more of a Rihanna stan myself, and I unfortunately was a huge Kanye fan back when that was
Same.
acceptable.
Same, bro.
I had to.
Oh man.
I had to finally like cut ties like in more more recent years because I was
Same,
such a big fan that it took me a long time to like finally be like, he's really toxic.
I was so into Kanye West, and
Yeah.
so I feel you 100%. I like made a painting for my friend next door of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like I remade
shit.
that painting,
Nice.
and like
That's awesome.
I was really into it, and now
Yeah.
I'm really fucking bummed about him. Yeah, like I broke up with him in COVID, so it was not that long ago.
Oh wow, yeah. I pretty much Dark Twisted Fantasy was sort of like the beginning of the end for me because I was just like, I don't even know, like I also related super heavily to like his earlier albums because like I was living in Chicago when he released College Dropout, and I was like dropping out of the school I was at, and I also saw him that year. He performed. I know I just hijacked the Beyonce conversation.
I love it. I love to talk about all hip hop.
That's what Kanye is all about, is hijacking women's spotlights, right? But I saw him like in the basketball gym. It was like $15 for the ticket, and it was like a full scale production. Like you could tell there were people at the school who were like, who's Kanye West? You know, it was still like that. It was 2005, and actually it was the same night as Sorority and Fraternity Rush, so it automatically was like eliminating all the not like annoying people from like being there. And I actually was at Sorority Rush that night because my roommate she was like really nervous, and I never wanted to be in a sorority, but I was like, this will be a fun, weird experience to like see what this is like. It was weird and terrifying for sure.
Cults.
And by the end I was like just lying to girls and being like, yeah, I'm a marine biologist, and this was like in Evanston, Illinois. And I like left in the middle of Rush, in the middle of one of these like meetings to go to this concert, and I remember the girls in this one house just being like, you will never be part of this sorority. And I was like, that's okay. It's fine.
All good.
But it was an epic concert, and I am very sad that he just went off the rails so hard.
Yeah.
Oof. I even liked Life of Pablo, but
Me
then
too.
the Christian music came and I was not having it.
The Ultralight Beam. I was like, man, I had such a brain
love
fart.
that song.
That song is like still one of my favorites in that decade.
I know.
From the last decade.
It's so sad.
Yeah. I also saw him actually in 2005, Caitlin, because I went to Coachella that year, and he wasn't even. This is so crazy.
Oh, I was there.
Were you there the year that I think that was the Depeche Mode year?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Madonna.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's sick.
And I still remember it was on the main stage in the middle of the day. Like this is how like young Kanye was. He wasn't even like one of the headliners because it went Common on the main stage, and then it went Kanye West, and they kind of like segued into his thing. And I remember that Kanye West started doing like the worm on the stage, and he was like trying to do like breakdancing moves and stuff like that. And it was like, oh man, like
dance.
Such a like, but that it was such a like, it was when he was like, it was his like polo era. It's like when he was like embracing like his,
3 popped collars.
Yeah.
What? No.
I also saw Common in Chicago. I was like at
that must have been awesome.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I was at a nightclub, and he like was sitting at a VIP table, and all of a sudden was just like on the mic, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Like
That's incredible.
And just started performing, and I was pretty drunk, so I don't know if that was planned or not, but it was amazing.
That's awesome.
But anyway, Beyonce is super dope.
We do love her. I could say all sorts of songs that I like, but it just depends on the week.
Totally. And I think she's like an amazing like role model. And I remember like, even though I haven't been necessarily like super into her music, she's definitely one of those people that like, it would drive me crazy when people would be like, calling her like talentless and something, just because like she's not like maybe a primary songwriter or whatever. And I'm like, you stand on a stage in heels like that and try to do one of those things for 10 seconds and tell me she's not talented. Like,
okay, yeah, for serious, because that is really what like caused me to just become completely obsessed again, was seeing her the first time in the Lemonade concert, because I saw it twice, and I just cry when I see her live. It's like, it's a force of fucking nature. And it's just watching somebody dance like that for 2.5 fucking hours, that makes me want to cry because I'm just like, you're amazing. And sing, and she's singing live. Yeah, for me, it's when people say that she's not a good singer. People say that.
Shut the fuck
People
up.
say that.
They're
Like,
probably the worst singers in the world, first of all. Anyway,
off.
saying that.
Yeah.
So like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my God.
But and Eric knows this about me. I like have trouble sometimes listening to music that I like too much, or that like is too emotional, or like evokes too much of a response from me, because it just like I can't handle that level. Like I'm already at that level of emotion all the time, and like I don't need, like I'm sure I do cry every time I see Beyonce, and so like I kind of avoid it because I'm just like, not today, you know.
Yeah, it's really intense.
I was reading a Fiona Apple interview today, and she actually talked about that, Caitlin. In the interview, she's like, I don't really listen to that much music because she's like, I'm so sensitive and I get so easily like enraptured in the song that she's like, I almost have to avoid it because like it could like one song can like ruin my whole day because I get so invested in it. And I was like, damn.
No, Eric knows that I like didn't listen to Phoebe Bridgers like ever until a couple of weeks ago, and then like I was just it ruined my life for like at least 10 days, and I was like like it was
fucking
really
out
bad.
Yeah, that new album is good.
I can't do it.
And fuck you, Ryan Adams. I'll say this actually, you ended up hitting all the other answers to the other Beyonce questions. So
I just talk and you know.
Someone wants
That's what
to know,
we do here.
And something happens.
Do you follow your horoscope?
Okay. That's a funny question to ask today because I don't normally read my horoscope, but I did yesterday because it like came across my Instagram feed or whatever. And it was one of those horoscopes that you're reading, you're like, that all that shit can't happen in one fucking day. Like, what are you talking about? Like that today, all that shit happened. So let me just say, let's hear it. No. But it was just like a lot of things are gonna happen. And then I was just like, yeah, you know, you say that all the time, horoscope. And then it was a very dramatic and emotional day in some ways.
Damn.
So do I follow it? Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't change my behavior. I will say that I don't change anything based on what my horoscope says. Maybe if I'm doing something witchy, maybe if I'm doing something witchy, I might use some kind of, you know, astrological something. But generally,
do you pull a tarot in the morning?
Not in the morning, but when I have something that I just need to ask a question about, which is often.
Yeah.
There is a website that I use for tarot that like I actually prefer to my horoscope because it just like it kills me with deadly like on pointness, and it's like a very witchy website, and it's very like GeoCities, like ancient,
I was gonna
decrepit.
ask that.
Okay, I know the best ones are the best ones look like shit, like their website. Yeah,
it's called Crystal Clear Reflections, and they have like a page where you can do like a daily tarot card, and it's even in like Comic Sans, you know, but you like click it and it'll just like give you a tarot card. And first of all their interpretations of the tarot cards are like they go into like the Kabbalistic meanings and the associations with the Onion Journey and Joseph Campbell, and like they don't necessarily reference all those things in all of them, but it like brings all that kind of like psychological analysis and like you know, archetypal analysis into these cards. And it's so different than any other site where it's like very basic, like this is what the symbols mean and this is what generically it means. It's like getting a tarot reading from a witch, you know. So I absolutely love that website. And then the other thing that I was going to say is that we assumed you were a witch because of your floating head.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
I'm
something.
Madame Leota. That's what's happening right now.
That is incredible. You do actually, it does have that feeling. Oh man, that room is my all-time favorite.
Yes.
I miss it so bad. I
Me
miss
too.
Disneyland so bad. That's probably not on your questions, but I'm a fucking Disneyland freak too. So.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, you're in good company. Kayla and I did a whole Disneyland episode.
Yep.
We are both obsessed. What do you have any thoughts about a little show that they do on the rivers of America called Fantasmic?
Okay, I saw Fantasmic when I was 11 years old, and it had just like started, and it was fucking mind blowing. When I was like 11, I was like, "What? There's water, there's fireworks, there's fucking pyrotechnics." I love Fantasmic. I still have a little button from like 1990, whatever.
Oh,
Yes.
hell yeah. I straight up reached out to the lady who created it, like her vision. She got, I guess, like every year Disney puts on this like award show for like their innovators and people who are like actually like within like,
Imagineers.
yeah, and she won like the like lifetime achievement award for Fantasmic like 2 years
Good.
ago. You can
Wow.
watch the video on YouTube. I welled up a little bit watching it because she was so
Yeah.
emotional and you could tell that she was such a good person. And I remember, I think I told Caitlin like months ago, I was like, we need to have her on. I'm gonna fucking find this woman and tell her like Fantasmic changed my life.
Did she, so she didn't get back to you?
No, I didn't.
Not
I
yet.
can't find her. She's a wily
She's really
one.
busy after that award ceremony. She's got a lot of calls.
Yeah.
So.
I lost my thing. What is the best and worst thing about being female? Well, first of all, gender no longer exists.
I also didn't say I was a female. The best and worst thing. I don't know if I have an answer to that. Gender is definitely something that is becoming, I'm just looking at it differently, right?
Mhm.
Like even just like in my verbiage of not assuming gender and my, that's not really the question, but
It is.
No, but yeah, but that's
it is kind of because
yeah.
I've been just thinking about that a lot lately, and I have a 10-year-old kid who is prepubescent, and we're really talking about the gender spectrum. And to be honest, like my kid is way better about not gendering people, not assuming genders, way better than I am, and has taught me so much just about that. But for me in my life, some of my most sacred experiences have been in female spaces, and that means female regardless of your genitalia. And most of those were spiritual experiences. So fucking heavy witch shit with women is really, really wonderful. So that's probably the best part in my life, is just I've also I used to go to the Women's Herbal Symposium it's up north here. It's a week-long retreat. Also a wonderful experience where the experience of maiden, mother, and crone are really embraced there, and that was a lovely experience. So those experiences would be my favorite part about being a female. The worst part is being talked shit to by every man I've ever fucking worked for. So yeah, that's probably it, is really finding it hard to move up in certain places and seeing men come into the same job and immediately get paid more than me and get more respect. So that fucking blows.
Word.
Kaylin,
Check.
did you have any thoughts on it?
I second all of that. I think especially I think one of the challenges, and it's sort of like the J.K. Rowling conundrum, I think like what that author has been struggling with, that I think I actually struggled with earlier in the days of like this new norm of understanding like trans and accepting trans people, is like I had a couple experiences where like trans women would come into my space and sort of accuse me of like doing womanhood wrong, or like take aspects of womanhood that I felt were inauthentic or that were through a male gaze and exhibit them like performatively. And so like I struggled with that. And of course, and like those are the uncomfortable things I think to talk about right now, because it is like I of course want to focus on inclusion at all times and like honoring what people want to be identified with, but
what they are, not just what they want to be identified as, but what they are. If they're saying they're a trans person.
Right, exactly. And I definitely struggled with that more when I think I had like less security, when I felt more threatened as a female by like, and didn't have my boundaries as strong and didn't like know how to sort of like honor my own like sacred feminine or like bring that out in healthy ways. And so when I saw other people projecting aspects of me that like I wasn't comfortable with, that put me on the defensive. And I was able, like, I didn't get through those periods gracefully at all by any means, but I did learn from them. And I did, especially like now looking back, it caused me to reflect on myself and be like, oh, wow, that was like really about me, like not healing aspects of my feminine. But that's really easy to do in our culture because my journey of healing my feminine nature started with me really like using it as a weapon against men. And that was like sort of how I established boundaries with men. And I was like, oh, well, you're going to sexualize me. I'm going to use my sexuality to control you or to cut you down and leave you defenseless and see how you fucking like it. But also that was the necessary balance for me to do because that had been taken away from me, as a young person. And I had to sort of, to me, it was like settling the score. And then in doing that, I actually like gained a lot of compassion for men. And I was like, oh, you're just hurt little bunnies, like you just like, and it's so sad. I actually read this thing just tonight from this book I'm reading about different archetypes that we all have within us. And it was the author of this book was quoting Starhawk, who's an incredible author. And
I know a lot about Starhawk.
Awesome. I actually did a permaculture workshop with her, which
Nice.
we can talk about it another time. But in this quote, she was talking about how there was this chant for Vietnam soldiers where they would have their rifle or their machine guns, and they would like touch their machine guns and then touch their genitals, and they would be like, this is my rifle, this is my gun, one is for fighting and one is for fun. And they were like referring to their own genitalia as a weapon basically. And she was sort of reframing that and being like, that's actually really sad because your weapon isn't like like your genitals, like if that masculine aspect it's like should be the source of life and the source of creation and all these things, and you're reducing it to a weapon that doesn't have needs, that just needs like maintenance basically, and is used for destruction. And there's so much wounding on both sides, and obviously our culture has been so focused has been so patriarchal, and so I think there has been this huge like resurgence of all things feminine, but now it's like, how can we create spaces where we can honor the feminine without excluding people? And I definitely like I feel I don't particularly care what gender people identify me as. So I think that was another part of my struggle too, in understanding why it was so important to other people. Cause I'm like, I don't necessarily need to be like one or the other for people, but also it's like, uh, identity it is important to people. And even for me, if it's important for that not to be important to me, that's part of my identities. And like, just respecting how other people feel honored and seen, whether they're female or male or something in between. It's just part of like the basic human respect that we're all learning right now in the apparently the dawn and the collapse of civilization, where it's like just occurring to us to like treat each other with respect again, like regardless of gender, race, sexuality, all these things. So I would say the best part for me about like being female or whatever is just that I've been able to like take that journey, and that I've been able to sort of have that journey without like my feelings being oppressed in any way. And then like you said, the hardest part has been like my own, it's not even so much that like men like coming on the offense and taking advantage of me, which sure has happened, but like me letting my own conception of myself be less than a man, and me feeling inadequate as a female, and not like really calling out like that warrior archetype in myself, and searching for that protection and that dominance in sources outside of myself, that has made like, it's just made my own life harder. But I love the idea of like less less gender focused society, I guess, in the sense that we've had it in the past, while honoring.
It's okay to talk about gender. I think just
Yeah.
focusing, you know, on gender as being part of your genitalia is where we really need to move away from. It's okay
Right.
to talk about the feminine, and being a woman is wonderful as long as we are understanding that there are a whole lot of women that maybe don't have the same parts as us, but they are absolutely women, and they're
Yeah.
absolutely part of the divine feminine.
Mhm.
And men, trans men. We're only talking about trans women here, but trans men are just as existing, you know. And
Yeah.
so, and you know, I really hear that you've really like worked on understanding more about a trans identity, and I think that that's a really important thing that everybody needs to kind of check back in with themselves if they're feeling some type of way about somebody who is trans, because you know, it really is, like you were saying, oftentimes our own wounds, our own cultural bullshit that is making us feel uncomfortable, scared, worried about you know, people that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I
I have a lot more I could say about trans issues.
I know, yeah.
I do apologize because Murph came walking up and kept like hitting the mic stand, and I felt bad if you guys were hearing that. So then I picked him up my lap just to kind of like settle him, and then he like fell really hard off my lap. So I do apologize because I might have been like making a lot of noise, and I was trying very, very hard to be very quiet during that. And now he's making a weird noise. Oh, sorry, buddy. What is your favorite cereal? Such a like.
I don't like cereal.
Whoa!
Ooh, that's the
Dang,
hottest take of the night.
controversial.
Yeah,
Damn,
no,
holy
I
shit.
don't. I mean, like,
None?
it's fine, but I'm a fucking stoner too, dude, and I don't even like cereal. I don't know. It's just not my bag.
Well, this is a
Not for me.
perfect follow-up to that because someone wanted to know some. Maybe they were trying to cut to that because they want to know. I feel like we've gotten this like 2 episodes in a row. What is your favorite midnight snack?
Oh, I love to sit in bed with like my own charcuterie board, basically.
Yes. Holy
like,
shit. Yeah.
Buy like
Show her,
I
show her,
get-
Taylor.
you too? Love it.
We were just
Love
like
it.
we were having a long discussion before you came in the Zoom.
Fantastic.
Got a
Fantastic.
giant box of cheese and jam and bread next to me right now.
I am
Bless
not
her
that
heart.
fancy. Not that fancy, but like I love
It was just given to me.
that's lovely.
Yeah.
It's a holiday gift, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, I like cheese and crackers and fig
Yeah.
spread and apples in bed. I'm very
Mhm.
like
Hell yeah.
at midnight. So yeah.
Totally.
That's what's up. I feel it. What is your favorite graveyard / cemetery? Do you have one?
Well, the Santa Rosa Rural Cemetery.
Oh,
It's fucking
so-
amazing. It when you walk in there, you feel like you're in a totally different place. Like I feel like I'm in fucking Louisiana or some shit if
Yeah.
it wasn't oak trees everywhere. There's certain like rows there that are completely transportational, as I'll say. Like they just like take me to another place. So definitely that. But I grew up across the street from the Petaluma Cemetery
Okay.
and spent a lot of time there. So that's the one that I hold nearest and dearest to my heart. But my favorite is the Santa Rosa. Oh,
It-
also, have either of you ever been to fucking Colma, south of
Mm-mm.
San Francisco?
I haven't.
Where south of San Francisco?
South? I don't know.
Is it like is
Daly-
that
Daly
the- is that the
City-ish?
name of-
I don't know.
is that the name of a city or is that the name
It's
of
the name of, okay, so Colma is the name of the city. It's also where they
Oh, no.
filmed all the cemetery scenes for Harold and Maude.
Oh no shit.
Oh.
But so it's a city of cemeteries.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay.
Where all the people from San Francisco were buried for a very, very long
Ah.
time. And it's like, I don't know, 30 cemeteries or something. It's
Oh, shit.
cemeteries and car lots. So you'll often see people's like license plate frames say they're from Colma, which is like the fucking death city. It's just crematoriums. It's awesome. You should fucking go there.
Yeah.
It's like
It's awesome.
Colma, population 0.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like floral shops where they make the wreaths. It's really cool. Brian and I got locked in a cemetery there once.
Whoa.
Oh.
We've had that happen a couple times. We were able to eventually find somebody, but that was like the first time that we were like, oh fuck, because since it's like a city of cemeteries, there's nobody anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like here where there's people walking around the cemeteries. It's like there's so many hundreds of thousands of graves that like you're not really running into people really. So
someone like helps you guys, and the next day they're like, oh yeah, like Jerry helped us. Like, Jerry hasn't worked here in 40 years.
I love that. I'm gonna tell the story now. I know. I'm done.
That rural cemetery, so I've lived in Santa Rosa 8 years now, and I'm from the Bay Area in general, so like I've been up to Santa Rosa a few times before that, but never to that place. And when I moved here 8 years ago, the first place I lived in was a house that was like 2 blocks away from there. And that first year, because I didn't like know anyone here really besides like one other person, I spent a lot of time like just walking around there like with my headphones in. It's so, I mean, there's no way to describe for the listeners at home other than it's truly a rural cemetery that like it's randomly like just the woods there are so different. Like there's a creepy yet beautiful, a peaceful yet like it hits like everything you could possibly want.
Yeah,
fucking
it really does. And it has all those fucking widow makers, the eucalyptus trees all along the side. And the oaks. So beautiful.
I loved going there and like doing like night shoots out there, just like taking my camera because I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go home and see something fucked up.
Never though. No. Have you ever seen anything? No, me just neither. Like, we bring our little EMF reader there, fucking nothing. And I'm just like, it's so weird to me that there, whereas if I'm at the Petaluma one, I'm like feeling shit all the time. But not really there.
So you guys have a reader? Okay, now, sorry, we're getting really off the rails, but I need to know, like, where have you guys taken it that sorry, I'm so all over the place, but have you ever gone to Port Costa, you and Brian?
We have not. Oh. I don't know why. I don't know how that, like, well, I only found out about it like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And then I have a fucking kid, so I don't get to do it.
I'm from Martinez, so that's why I know a lot about, because the Martinez, like everyone talks about fucking Port Costa.
Right.
What were you gonna say, Caitlin?
I feel like with the like not getting ratings or like seeing sightings and stuff in cemeteries, I feel like it's like if you finally transcended your like flesh and blood bag, would you really want to hang out around like your rotting corpse, you know?
Right.
Like you're probably off like doing cooler shit than hanging out like
riding
near your own grave.
Roller coaster endlessly.
Doing whatever the fuck you want. Yeah, we were talking the other day about like, okay, well, like would you be like in the place that you died? And I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to be in the place that I died. I don't know where I'm gonna die. And most people die in a hospital. So like I really don't want to do that. No.
What sorry, like I was so enraptured about the Port Costa and asking that. Did I overhear you saying that you get readings in your own house?
That's where it's done the most here. My house was built in 1919. It was finished in 1920. We just had our 100-year birthday.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, house.
Happy birthday.
You're still here. You're still here. Sorry, I'm in the bunker. But yeah, so in our house, I don't know that anybody has actually passed away here, but I mean, I feel my own ancestors around me often, too, in particular. And my guess is my guess, because I believe in these things, is that it was more them than somebody who, say, died in the house.
Right.
All right. I know we're kind of going over the time here, but one last one that I do want to ask that I'm just curious about is, so I want to know, what is your go-to karaoke jam, if you have one?
I've never done karaoke ever in my life. Never.
Sacrela.
And just today I was talking to somebody who bought a karaoke machine for Christmas, and they apparently are going to force me to come.
I think I'm only surprised because like you look a lot like Idina Menzel, so I just imagine you have this like incredible singing voice.
Well, I know
you are not the first person who's ever told me that. I'll be in fucking Trader Joe's and somebody will run up to me and be like, and I always know, because I'm like, you like musical theater, don't you? Like awesome nerdy girls usually, and they're so cute and wonderful. And they always tell me I look like her. So, I can sing a little bit. I was in choir for a very long time. but I'm no Adina Menzel. That's
well, none of us, not all of us
Who
can
is?
be Greta Gerwig or Adina Menzel.
Right. It's true. It's true.
I wish Spencer was here to remind me what John Travolta said that night when he fucked up her name. Oh.
Adele Dazeem.
Yeah, that's two.
I only know
two guests in a
because
row.
of-
That knew
Yeah.
it. Good job. Why do you know?
I know a lot of pop facts. I don't know. I spend way too much time thinking about pop culture. So,
Same.
and reading about it, and I love it so
Yep.
much. And I really actually have no shame about that. So
No shame.
We are so it's that time of the evening where we have to get going into the personality quiz.
ooh.
Yeah, that we scour the internet. We go
Where do
deep.
you find those now?
That's our secret. No, it's just
Okay.
no, it's not. It's allthetests.com.
And it's a website that's been around since like early internet days, but
2000s.
there's people that like still will get. You'll see like a quiz on there from like anywhere from 2001 to like updated a month ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
This one is from 2017.
okay.
Developed by Jess.
Thanks,
And
Jess.
just
Thanks,
disclaimer,
Jess.
most of the people that write these quizzes are between, I'm guessing, the ages of 12 and
12 and a half.
14. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
People with time to
Yeah.
take a quiz. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So this one is called Can I Guess Your Zodiac Sign?
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
We
Yeah.
somehow went through without
This is
mentioning
gonna
it.
be easy. I feel like I'm pretty boilerplate. So
Don't say.
I won't.
I'll see if Kate, because you, I know,
You know.
I know,
Yeah,
but
you know.
Caitlin, I'll wonder if Caitlin can figure it out too.
Well, this is really about whether Jess can figure it
That's
out.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Jess. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah. All right. Question number 1. Are you really emotional? So sometimes answer number 1 is sometimes emotional, sometimes not. Option 2, I'm just like everyone else. I have emotions.
Okay.
Written very emotionlessly.
Right.
Number 3, I am super emotional. Sometimes I cry over fictional characters. Or number 4, I guess I'm emotional. What does that even mean? Am I emotional? Of course I have emotions, but I'm not overly emotional, am I?
Definitely the second to the last one for sure. I cry over. Yeah. That also has to do with my moon sign though. Jess.
Same.
Oh, I was gonna say at the end, I wanted to hear the lineup real quickly at the end.
Yeah, sure.
I'm curious now.
So option 2, are you creative? I'm sorry. Question 2, are you creative? Option 1, coloring is bae.
I love this. Okay.
Oh,
Number 2, I like painting and drawing. 3, rainbows and unicorns! Exclamation point. Or I am very creative.
This person's understanding of creativity is confusing to me. I will say that. It's very 12-year-old. I am very creative.
Okay.
So,
I feel like those are all creative types.
yeah.
Are you dependable? I will tell your secret for the fun of it. Yikes. Depend on me to keep your secret, and I'll tell everyone unless you're my friend. Heart smiley face or heart eyes smiley face. 3, I can be dependable. ... Sometimes I'm not. Or 4, I am very dependable.
I'm very dependable.
oh yeah.
Question 4, are you enthusiastic? Some days it's puppies and kittens. Other days it's a dark cloud of anger. 2, I don't know. Does it matter? 3, I am so enthusiastic. Or 4, I can be when I want to be.
I can be when I want to be. Mm-hmm.
Do you like to keep things private? I like to keep to myself. I just want to play. I don't care if people know as long as they aren't rude. My whole life is private. Only my best friends know about my personal life. Or yikes, I like humiliating people by spilling their private info. And then it's one of my least favorite smiley faces, which is the one where it's like the Katie Holmes half smile and he's like looking to the side.
Oh yeah. What's the second one? I'm like
It's
lost in these answers.
So the first was puppies and kittens, and other days dark cloud of anger. Second is, I don't know, does it matter? I am so enthusiastic, or I can be when I want to be.
I would say puppies.
Oh, no.
And kittens
No,
and
but that- wait.
freak out.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that's not even the.
I went back. I went back to question. This is the private one.
I thought for a split second my mind's melted because then Alyssa like responded naturally like, yeah, I'll go with that one. I was like, none of these were the fucking answers I just heard.
That means I wasn't listening to begin with. That's the problem.
I thought you were supposed to be dependable.
Stoner.
Okay.
All right.
This is the private one. I like to keep to myself. I just want to play. I don't care if people know, as long as they're not rude. Or my whole life is private. Only my best friends know my personal life. Or I like humiliating people by spilling their private info.
The second one, I don't know.
I like to play and no one fuck with me or something like that.
Yeah, don't fuck with me. I like to do what I want.
Do you have lots of silly ideas? One, not really. Two, I guess I have silly ideas, but not intentionally. Three, when I want to be silly, I never do my ideas though. Or four, all caps, silly ideas are my life.
Shit.
I'm not really any of those things, but I really love the enthusiasm you had in that one.
Yeah.
I feel like the last one is Eric.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I mean, I like being silly. I guess the second to the last one, I don't know.
Yeah, that felt right.
Yeah.
Do you achieve your goals often? Number one, I'm yeah, right.
Damn, Jess.
Yeah, seriously. I mostly just have personal goals and I achieve them sometimes privately. I don't normally, but I like it when I do. I almost always achieve my goals, or I normally start my goals and quit halfway through.
Number one.
Okay.
It's hit and miss. And if they're personal goals, I'm much more likely to hit them.
Yeah, I'm a
They're
fan of
career goals. Maybe
Maybe
not. Maybe not.
I know, I'm a fan of the private goals as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is a bit repetitive. This happens often. Are you reliable? Only to the people I rely on. Sometimes very reliable, or nope.
I think I'm very reliable. I don't know if other people would agree, but I think so.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, who cares?
And another repetitive one. Do you have sensitive emotions?
Oh.
I'm-
I still do.
Yeah. Come on, Jessica.
So we'll eliminate I'm tough as a freaking rock. Yes, I cry when I think of something that happened 2 years ago. My emotions aren't overly sensitive, or when I'm tired.
Oh, number
well.
two. Number two, for sure.
And the final question. Do you like adventures?
Oh, I thought I was going to this quiz.
This might be the first, by the way, personality quiz that we've done that doesn't ask a favorite color question.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought for sure that would be on there, especially for
too.
an astrological sign.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, so the answers
Now it's
are
never gonna know.
yeah. Adventures. Yay! All caps. Sometimes I like to relax and eat, or depends on the adventure.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Really exciting answer.
All right. Are we totaling?
So for 40%, you are a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. You are emotional, sensitive, and like to keep your personal life private. So I'm going to guess Pisces. That's my guess.
I know I talked about crying a lot, but I'm not a Pisces.
Okay.
What's your, before you say what's your moon and your rising?
My moon is a Cancer. So there you
Okay.
go. I have a water moon and I have a water sun sign, and my rising is a Gemini.
What's your what's your main one? Your sun sign?
Oh, was I supposed to say it? What it said I was 40% water sign. Does it? What else does it say?
Okay, 30% you're an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. You are
Which
adventurous,
is my rising.
adventurous, creative, and have lots of silly ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And 30% you are an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. You like to keep to yourself. You're loyal and dependable. Or fire sign, you got 0%.
Interesting.
I would have thought
I am
fire
a-
for the fire.
Yeah, the questions were dumb.
We
or like
see you, Jess.
misleading,
Yeah.
Jess. Jess, you don't know shit about us. No.
Unfocused.
Grow the fuck up, Jess. Wait till you're a woman and then give this quiz.
Give me some real. No. I am a Scorpio water sign.
Ooh.
So it had the most in the water signs, which is for sure. And
I
I'm
should have
also
known-
a water sign moon. So.
I should have known.
Kind of
from
worked.
The floating head is Scorpio, I feel like.
Yeah.
Floating head,
Surrounded by
the black,
blackness.
yeah, the bunker, the whole thing is very...
Your consciousness just emanating from the dark is very Scorpio of
That's
you.
me. That's me. I just pop out of the dark. It described myself the other day as I was like, sorry, I didn't say goodbye. I just show up and then leave unannounced. That's just what I do. I might show up, I might not. I don't know.
I feel like the using the child for charity drive is also a Scorpio trait, possibly.
I was just waiting the whole time I was pregnant.
I'm
that helps also.
I'm an Aquarius, and I feel like that's a move I do a lot because I feel like that's the aloof sort of move to just kind of like fade in and out of like a party. And like when I was younger, that was often like the text or call I'd get, which is like, we didn't even know that you left, and be like,
yeah,
no one does.
To be honest, I'm a Taurus and I do that too. So I don't know if that's I think that's just our personalities. You guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's newer I've always like, because of the Cancer thing, I'm the Cancer moon sign. I don't said that in a weird way, but in the Cancer moon sign, I'm like, I want to take care of everybody's feelings. My first reaction is to take care of everybody's feelings, say goodbye to everybody, make sure they know. If I didn't say goodbye, right, did I hug them? I'll hug people 3 fucking times because I just like really want to make sure that people feel loved. And like, but if it's just a bunch of random people, I don't know, then I just show up and leave.
I've actually been known for leaving my own parties unannounced. I have like
that's such a great move.
I have like a backyard, and there was one party in particular. It was like the post-holiday party for my work, and I had a bunch of coworkers over, and like they were just having such a good time, but I was just done and I wanted to go to bed, and I live upstairs, and like I was like, I'm going to the bathroom, guys. And then I just like never came back down. I just like locked the door.
There's something funny about that because right now, like your look is very like, is it Margot Tenenbaum?
Yeah.
Finger?
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God,
that's
you're right.
really what I'm feeling right now from you. So that like that idea of you just like going and hiding in your bathroom really feels good there.
Goop founder Gwyneth.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I try to separate Margot Tenenbaum.
Yeah, we all do.
Fall from grace. Fall from grace there.
Yeah, no fucking kidding.
That was like the coolest thing she ever did.
Oh
Yeah.
It really was. It really was.
What about sliding doors, huh? That wasn't fucking cool. Someone in like 2020
Whatever,
trying to
man.
like rally behind sliding doors. Like, how fucking great was that movie? Anywho, unfortunately, that is all the time we have this evening. Alyssa, that was an absolute blast. Before we get going, though, one more time to circle back, if you wouldn't mind telling the people one more time where they can kind of find food for thought and like how they can just like donate directly.
Absolutely. So it's fftfoodbank.org, because if you look up food for thought, there's a lot of other stuff that comes up. But if it's fftfoodbank.org, or if you looked up food for thought food bank, it would get you there too. At the very top of their page, there's a blue banner for their, hopefully it's still there, for their $100,000 goal that you can click on. If you're on the main page on, I think like the right panel, there's one specifically for the holiday food drive for people to buy, you know, holiday foods for people to deliver a special meal on top of the regular groceries that they get. What I didn't say about food for thought that I really should say is that what really makes them different in one way from like a Redwood food bank or like one of the big food banks that feeds everybody here is that they specifically serve people every single week. So they're dropping off groceries at 800 people.
Wow.
Every
awesome.
week or every 2 weeks. So at least twice a month, they're dropping off groceries to them. And during COVID, they've now taken on COVID patients or people who are quarantining and maybe old or immunocompromised. So now they've served 1,200 people.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
Excuse me, 1,200 more people. So 2,000
Holy
people in 2020.
Yeah.
And if you see this place, it's like not a big operation. You know, they've just like really dialed it in, and they just keep helping more and more people. So if anyone could donate out there, that would be wonderful.
Awesome.
Awesome.
We'll put links up on the podcast, on the Anchor FM, and on all the different various podcast platforms. There'll be
Show
links to all
notes.
this. Yeah, on the show notes.
Nice.
Alyssa, again, thank you so much for coming on. That was an absolute blast. We'll definitely have to have you on again in the future, because there was just so much more we had to get to that we couldn't, just quite frankly, especially about Beyonce.
I would love that. And
yeah.
Kanye, apparently
And
we all
Kanye.
three have a lot to say about Kanye West.
Oh yeah, the Kanye episode will be happening in 2021. It's happening.
Fabulous. Great. Can't wait.
Awesome. Well, on that note, Caitlin, as always, thank you for being the co-host of the Mo-host. I'm going to say goodnight, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.